Good morning, everyone. It's time for Qua. I'm not quite sure why my hands-free isn't working. I shall endeavor to rectify the situation so it isn't just a whole morning of me going like this and not being able to figure out what's happening. But anyway, Qua time! Like always this holiday, I am going to just be at home with my family. I haven't had time to crash yet since Dancing with the Stars, and I've been working in between then and now, and I'm just really going to enjoy being at home, being with people I love. I'm not that tall. I'm just like a shade under 5'9", so I suppose like for skating it was good because I'm compact, sort of. And as far as juicing fruits and veggies, it's so messy. So not often. Kobe and Tokyo are my favorite cities in Japan, and when it comes to what I love the most about Japan, of course, the food is wonderful, the fashion is wonderful, the culture is wonderful, but the way people look after one another and respect one another, I think is my favorite thing about Japanese culture. New York is part of my heartbeat, but I also love Chicago, I love Boston, San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Savannah, and Charlotte. I love the South. I love visiting the South so much. The decorum and the manners, and I also really love Maine. Well, welcome to the area. My absolute favorite restaurant in Wilmington, Delaware is Bardea Food and Drink. It's beautiful food created by Chef Antimo DeMeo and his whole team. The wine is real good and the atmosphere is awesome. Enjoy it. I love fashion and I love the avant-garde. I love people that take risks and that go there. I, of course, love Lady Gaga, naturally. I love the stylings of Victor and Rolf and their big shapes and boldness, and Karl Lagerfeld's uniform was so special. Of course I will, and I'm in the middle of construction right now and there's dust on everything, which is driving me absolutely insane. But when it's done, of course, I'll share it with you and you can check my highlights, because since I bought my first home in 2018, I've kind of shared the journey a little bit, so check there first. My friends and family can attest to this 100%, but I'm allegedly the hardest person in the world to buy for, because if I want something, I buy it myself because I can, and I'm thankful for that and I'm proud of that. But I love like a good Swiffer. I stayed up until 2 a.m. last night watching The Undoing, the whole series, and Nicole Kidman is a queen. She's one of my icons. I love her. And Hugh Grant, not so much, but he did an awesome job in this, and I was riveted from start to finish. So definitely watch it if you haven't. There's a 6-minute warm-up in figure skating, and you're on the ice with 6 other people, and it was really hard for me rotating the opposite direction than most people, weaving in and out of them to get my stuff done. But I never hit anyone on competition warm-ups, but in training, when I was younger especially, like a 3-foot-tall girl would body check me. Tara and I really only commentate figure skating as a specific sport, and for the other events that we do, like the Summer Olympics, the Super Bowl, the Kentucky Derby, we go as cultural attachés, I'd say, more so than anything, and help people feel the vibe of the event and the place that we're in. And yes, we will be in Tokyo for the Summer Olympics. I was lucky in the fact that I wasn't as injury prone as everybody else, it seems, but I did skate a whole season with a stress fracture. I've broken wrists and sprained ankles and broken toes and thumbs and things. I fell on it. Thank you. When I'm training, I just let music play, and I love when things like Lord of the Dance come on, because then I can just get jiggy with it and love it and live. But for movies, there are so many, but I love Dr. Zhivago, Moskva slezam ne verит. I love The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. On Friday night, I had 2 performances, and it was the first time I'd performed on the ice since February in front of people. And I was really nervous beforehand, but it was just so good to be back out there and hitting my lines and feeling the music and the emotion, and it was just so good to be back. They both work, but back until 1990, there was a part of the competition that was short program, long program, and figures. And figures was basically tracing circles and edges on the ice, and everyone had to do it. And I'm glad it's not part of competition anymore, but that's where figure skating comes from. But it all works. I don't really like bringing work home with me, but the first place I ever did skate was a frozen over cornfield behind my house when I was young, and that's what inspired me to dream of going to the Olympics, that cornfield. I think Silent Night is my favorite Christmas song, but anything Bing Crosby at holiday time makes me cry and feel nostalgic. I love the entire Christina Aguilera Christmas album because she just like hits it so hard. And of course, Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I do choreograph all of my own routines now. When I was competing, I would work with different choreographers that would help me maximize the competitive nature of my artistry. But now it's pretty much pure art and show, and I love being able to choreograph that. I have a lot, but my most memorable one was while I was filming and producing a documentary called To Russia with Love. I actually skated in Banff, Alberta, Canada, and it was just the most stunning surroundings. It was gorgeous. I don't, sadly, and I am that person. I'm so independent, and I'm always moving and shaking and working, and it's not nice to be with somebody when you are constantly busy and really focused on your own goals and ambitions, but I do miss having someone to come home to. You know, I think I'd be a pretty good parent too. Not right now, but also I'm so self-sufficient and self-confident that I know that I don't need a man or a baby to complete me or complete my life, but I know that they would enhance it. So if it happens for me, great. Most of my active sportswear is Nike, and it's easy, it's comfortable, it helps me skate and work out in comfort, and I can throw it in the wash. But on occasion, I do like a very fancy legging. So from Versace or McQueen. Because of the pandemic, a lot of entertainers and performers have lost opportunities and aren't able to do what we innately want to do. And Dancing with the Stars gave me the opportunity to perform for everyone and make them smile and make them happy and clap along and go on the journey with me, and I love that. I have no chill in any situation. I mean, I'm such a perfectionist and want to be the best at everything that I do. So there is no time for things to be imperfect for me. But I have to remember that life isn't perfect, and if things are out of your control, breathe through it because you can't control them. Talk dirty to me. So I have never met a chicken finger or a pasta dish that did not blow my skirt right up. I am starving now, so thank you. Well, thank you. It's something that I work at every day. I definitely was born more of a pessimist than an optimist, but there's so much in this life that you can't control, and if you don't get hung up on the little things, you can appreciate the beauty of right here and right now and how lucky we are to have. I've never been that video game person. The only game that I played with regularity with my friends was Mario Kart, and that was years ago. But yeah, the video games just aren't for me. I mean, I don't like my phone, so I don't want to sit on it and play a game. Usually black coffee and a protein shake if I'm feeling frisky. But if I'm actually sitting down for breakfast, I love an omelet. I love breakfast pastry, but my favorite is muesli. So it's almost like a cold oatmeal. It's overnight milky oats. It's delicious. We created so many magnificent memories, whether it was on the ballroom or off it. But my favorite thing that I cherish the most is we laughed, like full belly laughs, wasted so much time in training, that kind of laughing, and I miss it so much. Go with me here. Everyone loves a beautiful man and who's smart and funny and clever and all those things, but you know, brass tacks of things, I'm more feminine, so I tend to like the opposite of me, someone who's more masculine, but a heart of gold is very important. There's nothing actually wrong with Thomas' foot. He had his yearly major surgery a couple weeks ago, and he had a little bump on his side that he had to have removed, so he's got a little stitch right now. Art is all about perspective to me, so it doesn't matter if it's your first painting or a choreographic moment or the last. You're creating, you're giving something to the world, you're giving a piece of your heart, you're living and you're loving, and no matter who likes it or who sees it, you're creating, and that's art. This asks what fragrances I wear, and I wear a lot of them, but these are some favorites. This is Kuwait from TFK, which is super chic. Powder Flowers from Montal, which is very powdery, which I love. This is 1889 from Histoire de Parfum, which is Moulin Rouge inspired, so lipstick, old makeup sponges, and Tonteneige. I'm not a fan of heat, or sun, or the ocean. So I just feel like I'm just like super not a summery person. Give me an ice flow. This one asks if we're filming a second season of Spinning Out, and if you guys are new to my page, Spinning Out is a series on Netflix that came out almost exactly a year ago. It's about skating. I act in it. You can watch it. But sadly, we do not have a second season picked up. Pandas are just one of my lucky creatures. I've always loved pandas. Actually, my first trip to New York City, my mom got me a panda plush to sleep with at FAO Schwartz, and I still do. But I just think pandas are so funny and strong and auspicious, and I love them. I actually have been to Brazil, and there's a huge number of Brazilians who are on my Instagram page, so obrigado. But I went to Rio for the Olympic Games, and I actually was a part of Carnival and was in the Sambadrome and got to witness that amazing spectacle. My hair is naturally pretty dark, but I do put a black glaze on it just to give me a little bit more shine and a little bit more depth. You know, primarily for Instagram, but also for working in television. I As of this week, I actually am on Cameo, link in profile. But it's been outrageous so far. There have been so many people that have requested that I am part of their holiday and that I can and wish their loved ones well, and it's super awesome. I'm an overly confident introvert. I'm nowhere am I happier than when it's just me alone with my thoughts in my own space. But as an entertainer and a performer, I want to bring people joy and happiness and excite them, so I have to be extroverted a bit for that. We all come into this world as winners. Nobody will ever be a better you than you. So if you've won the first battle of life right out of the womb, you can win them all. You just have to believe in yourself and know that nobody can tear you away from yourself and find strength in that. Before Dancing with the Stars, I was probably in the worst shape of my life because of quarantine, and I didn't lose a lot of weight from dancing, but my muscles restructured a bit. Most notably to me was that my butt's always been big, but it like lifted from ballroom. I actually have, but I don't coach or choreograph now because I'm a broadcaster. And I think it would be a conflict of interest if one of my students or someone that I choreograph for wound up on TV and I had to commentate about them. So I like to keep it separate and fair. Downton Abbey is one of my favorite shows of all time. It is so chic and so good, and everything about it is a heart song to me. Edith, dear, stop whining and find something to do. Definitely Alan. He is a goofball, but he and Britt have a great working relationship. They've been friends for years and have danced together for years, so I think he would have been an awesome addition to Team Bourgeot. Plus, he was so helpful to me in so many ways through the competition. I love Alan. Consider this. Flying at like max speed on a giant ice cube with nothing between you and the ice aside from a steel blade. It's pretty weird. Probably. I mean, a hot dog is just the sausage. So when you put it into the bread, it becomes a sandwich. Real thinking moment here. It's coming soon. It's definitely going to still be cold out because I know that Britt misses that being out in Los Angeles. But I still do have some work coming up, and my house is under renovation, so I don't want her to have to contend with the dust as well as her gluten allergy when she comes to visit. Tara Lipinski and Terry Gannon are my broadcast partners, for those of you who don't know. And this is so hard because I love all the pros, but I think Sasha or Alan's energy levels would suit Tara the best. And for Terrence, I think, if not Britt, then Daniela. They're all hard, to be honest, but the Lutz is difficult for people because you're traveling backwards and blades have two edges on them, an inside and an outside. And the Lutz takes off of an outside edge, and then you jab in with your toe pick from the opposite foot and launch yourself the opposite way than what your body's actually going. Now that I'm far enough removed from my competitive days, I definitely can look at everything with a whole different perspective, and every competition was meaningful in its own way, and it took so much work and guts and mental toughness to get out there every time, and it didn't always go my way, but the 2010 Olympics is when it all came together. Well, this year Hanukkah came before Christmas, and Tom and I light our menorah together, and so that's part of our holiday traditions. And then when it comes to Christmas, you know, he does all of his shopping, but he has trouble wrapping because he doesn't have thumbs, so I have to help him there. I was super crazy about French. I remember I did so much extra credit that my ending average was like 104 or 105, something like that. But I loved French class, I loved English, but history is actually my favorite school subject. I really love learning where we come from. This is a hard one. I'm a Slytherin, but I don't actually see any of the Slytherin characters being similar to me. But probably Professor Dumbledore is most likely. I loved it, and I would do it again tomorrow if they asked me. But aside from my relationship with Britt, which is the best thing that I came away from Dancing with the Stars with, it was so inspiring every week to work hard, to deliver a performance for America, and to earn those high scores. As a competitor, I loved that. I like emeralds the most. I love diamonds too. Bougie. But yeah, if anyone ever proposed to me again, or if I ever proposed to myself, I would hope that it would be done with just like a giant emerald. Oh my God, there are so many. Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, Cate Blanchett, Maggie Smith, Catherine O'Hara, Bette Midler, Catherine Hahn, Rebecca Lang, Adam Driver, Adrian Brody. Figure skating, like many sports, favors youth. And after my Olympics in 2010, I stepped away for a little bit and tried to do a comeback, but it just wasn't in my body or my mentality anymore to compete at that level. So I knew it was time to step away from competition. People always ask about the Olympic Village. I think it's fascinating for people because of, how many top athletes are all in one place, and of course the hooking up stories and things like that. But for me, I was at the Olympics to compete at the Olympics, not to socialize. Tyoma is the diminutive of the Russian name Artyom, or Artem, as people pronounce it here. But Russian naming has a nickname almost built into every name. So Alexander becomes Sasha, Alexei becomes Lyosha, Artyom, Tyoma. This asks what my song of the moment is, and it's been the same song for about a month and a half now, but it's called I Hear a Symphony by Cody Fry. And I think it's what Britt and I will be choreographing our freestyle to. New Year's Eve is actually my favorite of all the holidays, and I look forward to a fresh start every new year. And I usually do it in a big way, and I have too much wine, etc. But this year, things around me have new restrictions or are closed, so I might just be home. That's enough for Qua this weekend, guys. Thank you so much for sending me your questions. I hope I got to a nice cross-section of them between the serious and the funny. But I love doing this with you guys. It gives me an opportunity to get to know you as you get to know me. And I so look forward to doing the Qua every week. But for everyone celebrating Christmas this coming week, I wish you a very merry one with glitter and joy and so much warmth and love abounding. Happy Christmas, happy holidays. I love you guys.